Pleasant greetings to all. The encounter of Jesus with the adulterous woman is one of the most touching episodes in the Gospels. Its message of mercy and forgiveness balances with a call to living a holy life. The phrases, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone," and "Go and sin no more," have actually found their way into a common English idiomatic expression, to cast the first stone. Where the crowds and religious leaders saw only the dirt of sin in the woman, Jesus saw something more. Why? Because he was looking through the eyes of love. Genuine love, that is, the very eyes of God Himself. This is the same love of God to each of us, my dear friends, the gift of light, through which we should see the world of relationships.
The passengers on the bus watched sympathetically as the attractive young woman with the white cane made her way carefully up the steps. She paid the driver, and using her hands to feel the location of the seats, walked down the aisle and found the seat he'd told her was empty. It had been a year since Susan, 34, became blind. Due to a medical misdiagnosis, she had been rendered sightless. And she was suddenly thrown into a world of darkness, anger, frustration and self-pity. Once a fiercely independent woman, Susan now felt condemned by this terrible twist of fate to become a powerless, helpless burden on everyone around her. She painfully realized that unless she snaps out of this independence, and turn to interdependence, she would slip back to being dependent on anyone. And all she had to cling to was her husband Mark. Mark was an Air Force officer and he loved Susan with all his heart. When she first lost her sight, he watched her sink into despair and was determined to help his wife gain the strength and confidence she needed to become independent again. Mark volunteered to drive her to work each day, even though they worked at opposite ends of the city. Soon, however, Mark realized that this arrangement wasn't working. It was hectic and costly. "Susan is going to have to start taking the bus again," he admitted to himself. He promised Susan that each morning and evening he would ride the bus with her, for as long as it took, until she got the hang of it. He taught her how to rely on her other senses, especially her hearing, to determine where she was and how to adapt to her new environment. Each morning they made the journey together, and Mark would take a cab back to his office. Finally, Susan decided that she was ready to try the trip on her own. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, each day on her own went perfectly. She was doing it. She was going to work all by herself. On Friday morning, Susan took the bus as usual. As she was paying for her fare to exit the bus, the driver said, "Boy, I sure envy you." Susan wasn't sure if the driver was speaking to her or not. Curious, she asked the driver, "Why do you say that you envy me?" The driver responded, "It must feel so good to be taken care of and protected like you are." Susan had no idea what the driver was talking about, and asked again, "What do you mean?" The driver answered, "You know, every morning for the past week, a fine-looking gentleman in a military uniform has been standing across the corner watching you when you get off the bus. He makes sure you cross the street safely and he watches you until you enter your office building. Then he blows you a kiss, and gives you a little salute and walks away. You are one lucky lady." Tears of happiness poured down Susan's cheeks. For although she couldn't physically see him, she had always felt Mark's presence. She was blessed, so blessed, for he had given her a gift more powerful than sight. A gift she didn't need to see to believe, the gift of love that can bring light where there had been darkness.
As you already know, there are several kinds and stages of love. These stages and kinds are clearer in the Greek language. First, the lowest is storge, or affection kind of love. This is pagkagiliw in Tagalog. We even share this with irrational creatures like our pets. The second is eros, the need love, which is obviously driven only by our animal instincts of need. This is paghangad in Tagalog. The third kind and stage up the ladder is philia, filial love, the love among friends or barkadas. This is pagmamahal in Tagalog. Thus we say, mahal ko ang kaibigan ko, I love my friends. Mahal ko ang mga magulang ko, I love my parents. Mahal ko ang bayan ko, I love my country. At mahal ko ang kaaway ko, I love my enemies. Why? Mahalaga sila sa akin dahil mahalaga sila sa mata ng Diyos. I love them because God loves them. The fourth kind and stage is the agape kind of love. Yes, this may exist even between friends, between children and parents, but this is certainly the love present between husbands and wives. Most importantly, this is the love between us and God. This is Pag-Ibig in Tagalog. As you see, it is a bit confusing in English because there is only one word for all these nuanced kinds. And this is the word love. But obviously, you do not love your parents the way you love ice cream, right? Our Tagalog language has an advantage, therefore, as it refers to these various kinds and stages. Now, going back, in our vernacular, the highest of loves is termed Pag-Ibig. It is a gift more powerful than sight, a gift you don't need to see in order to believe. And this Pag-Ibig is God's gift of light, a gift of light through a relationship with Jesus. When Jesus said to Thomas, "Have you come to believe because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed." What did he mean? Maybe this was what he meant. Mahal mo lang ba ako? Pinagpala ang umiibig sa akin. Do you only love me with a filial kind of love? Blessed are those who love me with an agape kind of love. And I will suggest that Jesus invites us into this sacramental agape friendship with Him. To give us an insight into the word sacramental, the Latin words sacrum and facere actually mean to make whole, holy, or sacred, to consecrate, to be healthy. And the word friend is from the Old English word friond. Its infinitive form is friugan, meaning to love, to favor. In German, friond is friund, related to the Old English frio, meaning free. Thus, when we coin the term sacramental friendship, we refer to an interpersonal spiritual relationship with Jesus, the sacrament of the Father, marked by freedom, commitment, wholeness, and holiness. It is marked by agape love or Pag-Ibig. And this agape love is a gift of spiritual intimacy. For a while, let us talk about intimacy. Let us touch on two kinds of intimacy. The first is spiritual intimacy. This springs from the third stage kind of love, pagmamahal. That is a love that esteems and respects the other. It is a spiritual bond that is established to make the personal relationship, and not just the functional relationship, a source of comfort and support. Despite it being only in the third stage, in spiritual intimacy, there is sincere concern for the happiness of each other. Then there is the physical intimacy. It is love, in quotes, expressed physically in varying ways and degrees, most intimate of which is in marriage. Of course, physical intimacy could also be devoid of genuine love and commitment. It could also be used by and be motivated by pure eros, cupidity, or the desire kind of love to exploit the other physically or sexually. But let me mention some notes here. First, when the individual is incapable of spiritual intimacy, he or she compensates by resorting to or indulging in physical intimacy. Hence, we give this warning so that we will not fall into this situation. The second note is this: while spiritual intimacy could reach its apex or peak without physical intimacy is ground zero, or the lowest basic level that human beings could get into if the physical intimacy is without spiritual intimacy as its ground or basis. The third note is this: while in pagmamahal, the philia or common friendship stage, one freely chooses and values friends because of the shared values like social but non-spiritual values. In Pag-Ibig or Agape mysterion or sacramental friendship, one allows the values, virtues, and principles to transform oneself. That is, to become fully human, fully alive, both socially and spiritually. So, how do you know when you have reached a certain degree of sacramental friendship with your spouse, with God, or your friends? Here are some marks. By the way, for married couples, these are must-haves. First, there is mutual appreciation. This is the mark of pagmamahal, valuing, sharing, that is carried on to a deeper, higher degree. There is mutual appreciation for each other, mutual affirmation, understanding, and acceptance of each other's limitations and faults. Second, there is respect for each other's integrity. There is valuing for each other's integrity and reputation. There is sensitivity to a friend's strengths and weaknesses. And while appreciating a friend's strengths and weaknesses, one does not take advantage of the friend's weaknesses. Pag-Ibig persons are therefore more readily forgiving and understanding persons than the simply pagmamahal persons. In pagmamahal, as we have seen, forgiveness is grace freely given, but trust is earned. In Pag-Ibig, however, forgiveness and trust are mutually given. The presumption is forgiveness and trust overflow in the shared emotional bank accounts. Hence, both are graces. The third mark is that the relationship is non-possessive and non-controlling. Sacramental friendship is possible only between two emotionally matured human persons. They are able to respect each other's personal autonomy. When one party becomes possessive and controlling, the friendship cannot survive, because the relationship is really between dependent personalities. Dependency or control or possessiveness destroy friendship. The fourth mark is this: healthy sacramental friendships, that is genuine Pag-Ibig relationships, are first and foremost spiritual. Sacramental friendships can withstand the test of anonymity and physical absence because deep love is established as a spiritual force, a binding presence. Remember our story of Susan and Mark? For although she couldn't physically see him, she had always felt Mark's presence, for he had given her a gift more powerful than sight, a gift she didn't need to see to believe, the gift of love that can bring light where there had been darkness. Pag-Ibig stage is also the owning, transforming stage. What do we mean? The friend not only respects the other's integrity and virtues, rather, he or she also owns this as well. That is, he makes them his or her own, therefore becomes transformed into a better human person, a better Christian, a better Catholic. This sacramentality and spirituality are the two must-haves for sacramental friendships that are eligible for elevation into the sacrament of marriage, communion love. They are the only context for eros, physical, sexual intimacy. You know, when celibate friendships deteriorate into physical, sexual behavior outside the circle or the embrace of sacramentality, the results are 1. Loss of self-esteem, and 2. Guilt. It also indicates the lack of respect for each other's commitment and integrity. This consequently leads to feelings of resentment and even hatred for one another. The fifth mark is this: sacramental friendships facilitate emotional and spiritual growth. True friends encourage one another to grow. They are not afraid to confront one another. They encourage and support one another in being faithful to their commitments. They remind each other of the spiritual goals they have decided to attain. Jesus exemplifies Pag-Ibig or Agape love. As we heard in the Gospel of John, so he was left alone with the woman before him. Then Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She replied, "No one, sir." Then Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore." Jesus, able to read the real heart of the woman caught in adultery, did not even have to wait for her to verbally express her sorrow. Jesus trusted her as the woman also trusted Jesus.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear,
Go and from now on, do not sin anymore. May God bless you all.